So the next thing in terms of its science is that there's a lot of technical foundations in bodybuilding, just like there's a lot of technical foundations in powerlifting and Olympic lifting, which obviously, again, I'm learning more of. I like that stuff, but very, very different positioning in even the back and how you're even producing the lift is so cool. Like, I just love learning that stuff. And so there's a lot of technical foundations of how you have to lift to be able to hypertrophy and isolate the lines of your muscle. Like, that's my, is that right? That's my back. So that is at nationals. So really, how do I chisel in those rhomboids right in the middle, and the lower erectors down there, and then the lats that actually go out? There's a lot of that goes into producing a back that looks like a picture, right? And so there's a lot of different areas. Like, for example, you may use techniques like supersets, which a lot of people do, and I do a lot in my workouts for my programs with my clients. 2 exercises that are performed back to back without rest, that just pushes one exercise to the other. That could be a technique, superset. You could do drop sets or strip sets, which means that you are starting high, then you drop low. Stripping is a common methodology in hypertrophy. Again, I wouldn't really apply that till someone actually does their move properly. I'm thinking of so many scenarios here where I'm like, the person's not even doing the move right. Don't try stripping that method. Don't drop set that when the technical foundation, how you did the move, wasn't even correct. So if you strip set your, I don't know, I'm just going to use squats. I don't know, squats. You strip set your squats and you drop set, but you don't squat properly, and your positioning over your foot is not proper, and where your pelvic floor is down. When I was going with my MAs who come from my transformation FFF, there's a lot of your squat positions aren't fully correct. You're not into your glute, and you're the middle of your leg. Like, if you're not stacked properly, you try to drop set, what's the point? So what I'm saying is, have a good base first. You need the base. If you can't jump the base, it's like somebody say, I want to go to university, like little 4-year-old. Mom, can I go to university? You're like, nah, yeah, honey, you're going to go to university, but let's first go to kindergarten. How about that? Kindergarten and grade 1 first. Let's start to learn how to write words first before you go to university. So basically, these methods are higher level, but they do come into play. I do utilize these a little bit later as I really want someone to develop out their physique and their what they're doing, which for a lot of the girls, Ocean is not the only one. I mean, there's other, but they're not in the group because they're a bit younger. So but yeah, like it's like, I won't develop it. I won't use all of these methods until I know you are solid in your base first, which makes sense because we don't want any injuries and things like that. There's also methods like pre-exhaustion methods, where you're going to tire out, sort of some bigger muscles before you get to your isolation methods. And actually, if you follow, sort of for my own clients, you're going to notice a little bit of that in the programming, that I tend to like to tire you guys out sooner in the first part. And there's more isolation metric movements later, which are pre-exhaustion methods. There's a pyramid set. So when you guys did the 12 days of Christmas, that was a pyramid set, but it was over 12 days. That 12 days of Christmas, as Oshoni knows, is meant to be done in one workout, in one setting. So that pyramid and that pyramiding format can also be a type of way of really exhausting the muscles to build mass, right? So there's just those are just some examples. I mean, there is so many methods you can do to be able to hypertrophy your body, but you got to first know how to lift properly, do the technical foundations, right? So in terms of technical side of things, as well, in terms of execution, are you understanding your concentric and eccentric motions, with your eccentrics, the lowering and your phases and your lowering of a move. And typically, like Oshone will teach it in the FFF Foundation. And when we start doing technical coaching for form checks with my MA clients, we really get into some of these, like, slow it down, try to control this, all of of this type of stuff has to do with eccentric and concentric training, as well as speed and tempo training. So there's a lot of things that I will say to someone about where they have to hold the line for the muscle to develop, because a lot of times if you don't actually control or develop speed, or sorry, not speed, have the control of speed and tempo, you will miss the muscle at maximal contraction, and you actually put it more in the joint. So there's some of you who go to the gym and you say you work out really hard and you work out all the time, you see no muscle development, is because you're probably training your joint more than you're training your muscle, because you're not operating with the right technical foundations. So technical foundations is key. That's why I like to see form checks a lot at the higher levels. Once they got their base down, I like to see, I know with Lisa particularly, I kind of want to see her in a video of her entire workout. I want to see what she's doing, because I know, like, if she doesn't really do certain things in the right way, or just even positioning over, let's say, her dumbbell pullover or something, she's not going to get as maximal development, right? So there's a lot of that things that you have to really think about: speed, tempo, eccentric, concentric, in relation to spine. Your spinal activation is really important. Now, this is not something I will specifically say to my client, but I'll correct it because it's in my mind. Where is your T-spine to your lumbar spine? If you look at the picture, T-spine is up here and your lumbar spine is down here. When you do a lift, where is the position of your ribs in relation to your T-spine, to your L-spine? If your L-spine is not engaged, or it's not like overarching, but sometimes, like some of my MA clients, is that if you don't actually engage your L-spine, you don't actually have glute activation. You don't use your L-spine, but you have to use it right, or else you hurt your back. So where does your ribs stack in the stacking of your autonomy? How are you doing your squats? How are you doing deadlifts? Now, do I say this to someone when I'm actually training them? Not really. I have not even said certain things to Oshone. I just tell her, hey, I want you to make sure you do this, make sure you do this. I want you to hit further down here. I want you to do this. So she understands. I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why, if a coach understands and they're in the field of bodybuilding. I'm not in the field of Olympic lifting, although I'm learning some, which I find so cool, because I'm not an Olympic lifter, and it's totally different. How you will sit on your T-spine to your L-spine is slightly different than a bodybuilder, and it's different slightly in a powerlifting move. So this is very crucial, because how you activate your spine is crucial to, will you actually isolate and develop your muscle, or will you actually pull for power? Now, totally different purposes. Cool. If you like powerlifting, I like it too. It's cool, but depends your goal. You want to sculpt more. What do you want to do? And there's different activations that you're going to need. So why I bring this up is because this is kind of the science part of it. I know a lot of people feel like they don't they don't really, like, hey, I can pull anything off YouTube. I can just get a cookie cutter program. But I always say this because I'm like, if you do that, you're just not getting a lot of the background of what is the actual technique behind this, right? And I was talking to Miss Olympia, the one who won the fitness realm, because I particularly competed fitness. And I was talking to her, and she is new to coaching. She's really, but that's okay. She's haven't been coaching a lot. She just competed a lot. But when we were talking, she actually said, oh, well, I just give the people moves, like this moves. And then I asked her, I'm like, so do you tell them technically, like, would you tell, like, me where the holds are, where the tempos are, where the, and I could see that she was like, oh, well, I don't really write that into the document. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that's okay. Like, I get it. She's new to coaching. But I think, like, that's the thing is, like, if you just get a program, just a cookie cutter program, you're missing so many elements of a technical foundation that someone has that's going to help you build in that muscle base and the progression that I specifically talked about. Bodybuilding has a very specific art. It's a very specific. So the technical foundation is really important. Yes, so I talked about. So let me ask all of you, how many of you guys thinking about your own programming or like the way you work out? Do you know your technique well? So kind of put below, do you know your technique well? Yes or no? And if you do, that's awesome. But if you don't, it is important to recognize this is how people are actually producing the results. It's not just lifting any weights. It's not going to a group class. It's not dancing Zumba. I love Zumba, by the way, but it's not just going to the gym and doing a chest press because you saw someone else do a chest press. There is a lot of technical foundations to the field of bodybuilding. So do you understand your technique? No. I see no for Paula, no for Rayvon. That's a cool name. Vivian's still learning with MA. Yeah, and you're learning a lot more. I know we started already really tweaking certain things, and when I start saying I'm pretty happy with technical foundations, Vivian, then you're okay. Now I got it. Now I just got to practice it to a certain point. Then I can get you to the next level. So I've seen lots of no's, which actually, just so you know, a lot of people don't like I would say even myself, but this is because I'm 10 years in. If I was the first year as a coach or trainer or second year, I don't think I could have told you these things. I think over the years I've trained and then talked to different coaches and experts and actually watch bodies change, and the wisdom you gain from real life training can't be taught by a book. And so that's why knowing someone who really has that experience is really crucial around that, right? So not yet, Elizabeth, but you will in the at least in the first phase with Oshone, not full technical yet, but at least base, and then we can accelerate that in Muscle Accelerator. So the third thing is, and I want to make sure you guys understand where I'm coming from for this, because we're talking about bodybuilding being a science. So for a lot of the bodybuilders, they want to have the edge, so they want to have good supplementation, but I'm not talking about anabolic steroids. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not saying that kind of supplement. For those of you who follow me, you know that what I mean is you need to have good whole foods, but if you're going to put your body into this intense muscle building mode and breaking down muscle fibers and you're producing slight minor, but it's okay, the minor acute inflammation in your body when you are breaking down the muscle to rebuild the muscle, is you do just need to make sure you top up anything that could fall through the cracks. Like a science experiment, if you think about it, you put this in and this in and this in, you forget one ingredient, the science experiment won't work. Yeah. So you have to remember there is a lot behind that. So whole foods first. So I'm going to get to that right away after this point, but you need to have good whole foods first, but maybe topping it up with maybe you're missing vitamin D, maybe you just don't go out into the sun as much, I want to be on the beaches here, but live in Edmonton, no beaches here. But yeah, so maybe you just don't get enough vitamin D, which will be very important to your whole body's system, right? You guys heard me say this. Supplements like probiotics, which I spoke about last week. I know maybe it's not necessary, but maybe you do have problems absorbing nutrients. And if you have problem absorbing nutrients, you're going to have trouble being able to sculpt these types of physiques, because you need maximal nutrition entering the body to be able to help it. Now, this is all individual based. Not everybody's going to be the same. So that's something you need to dial, research, and make sure you have the right brand and the right things that you really understand what's in it, and really then utilize that to help top up what you really want. And as well, oftentimes probably for a lot of high level competitors, I would say just being able to have they just want to have good energy for themselves and train hard and push hard in the gym. So sometimes, just having a little bit of a better energy product that produces more energy. Honestly, vitamin B is a great energy base, just vitamin B itself. But yeah, understanding these supplementations that help. I've spoken about supplementation a lot before, and just making sure you just top up where you need to be able to produce the physique. Again, everything matters when you are ultimately wanting to look the most sculpted. If you want to just be average, kind of on the average side, which is fine. Like, not everybody wants to look like that. And again, like people have different philosophies. You may not have to, like, not everything matters as much, but I would say it matters more when you want to be like more sculpted, and if that's your goal. So you have to determine what your goal is, right? If you feel like, for you, just knowing yourself, if you feel like you could do better with maybe supplementing, again, it's just a supplement, drop supplements below. And again, it's not like everybody has the same thing. Like some people, all I say to them is, you just need probiotics. Awesome. Some people I'm like, oh, well, maybe you should have calcium, kind of thing. Like just like natural baseline, not like I'm not a fan of anabolic steroids, and I don't even know that field, trust me. People ask me about like terms and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? What kind of chemical did you just cite off? I have no idea.